Hello, everyone. Welcome to Monday Night Team Call. I'm Eilers-Heffner, Sapphire Ambassador, and I'm super excited to talk to you about time management, priorities, and I have some very specific ideas to help with managing young children as well as older children. So when I started my business, my kids were 7 down to 1. I have 4 of them. And my husband was always he was in school and he was at church and volleyball and all these things. So I was alone a lot in the evenings. And it was really easy to work my business after my kids were in bed, but we've evolved. And now my husband is home. And so I don't really like in the evenings, he's working, but I don't want to be spending all my evenings working my business anymore, right? I want to be able to fit that in through my day, make that my work hours. I was working full-time as a physical therapist in a hospital until about a month ago. And so I've been able to manage all of these areas of life. And it came down to a lot of discipline and a lot of prioritizing. And I want to share some tips with you tonight. So some time management is something that we've all learned in some areas. So as you're perfecting this time management in your business, remember and give yourself a pat on the back that you've learned time management in other areas of our lives. So when we have a job and our boss says, I need you to get these things done, we figure out the time and how to manage and how to get those things accomplished, right? Maybe it didn't happen the first day on the job, but we do get to that point. And, we've learned how to get ready in the morning without it taking 2 hours. We learned how to jump in the shower and get our hair done and get dressed and whatever. We learn those things to help ourselves be more successful. Getting your clothes out ahead of time, packing your lunch for work ahead of time, all of those things that I'm sure you've heard before. And then just shifting. So as you add children or as something changes in your life or you get a new job and your schedule changes, you learn a new routine, right? So we all can do this. We can all take these 24 hours that we have in our day and we can shift them and make it work for our benefit. Everyone is busy. We hear this all the time. Everyone is busy. Everyone is busy. Well, guess what? Busy people have built this business, right? Busy people have gone this far. So you can do it too. You can do it. What it comes down to is properly managing our time. And this isn't just making a stress list of to-dos. That is part of it. We need to have a list of what it is that we're doing and assign appropriate timeframes for those things. But just writing a list doesn't make us productive. And it comes down to managing our mind. So when our mind is super unmanaged, then our time is unmanaged. I want you to think about that. So when our mind is unmanaged, our time is unmanaged. And we talk about mindset so much. And so remember, when you have your dream board and you have your goals in front of you and you know what your why is and you're calming your brain down to focus on those things and putting things out there as an affirmation. I am a double diamond ambassador, right? Like I am, I'm going to be, I am. And so then I'm seeking ways to make that happen. If I say I am busy, oh, I'm so busy, oh, I don't have any time, then that's exactly what happens is I am busy and I don't have any time. And so when we flip that around and focus in, then we can do this. And when we say I'm busy and I don't have time, it almost brings this anxiety and stress right out onto us physically, emotionally, mentally, and then you can get stuck. How many of you have sat down to do your IPA and gone, I don't know what to do? I see some head shakes. And that's not true. You do know what to do. You do know what to do. And when you feel more settled in your brain, then you're not going to feel that overwhelm about it. It's connecting with people, talking to them, developing relationships, meeting a need, offering a solution, and getting an asking them, join in this event. Can you check out a YouTube video? Can I send you a sample? Let's get you some information. I want you to be in our gut health and happiness page. You're doing those things. So break it down to those easy tasks. When we think, okay, well, I'm going to clean the kitchen, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. So there's a couple things you can do. You can keep track of your time already. So tomorrow, okay, it took me this long to get ready. It took me this long to get the kids ready. It took me this long to make breakfast. You can kind of keep a log, and then you can take that log and figure out a time block around that. You can time block yourself, and that way. But the other thing with that is you can go, wow, it took me an hour to clean the kitchen. It probably shouldn't really take an hour to clean the kitchen. Has anyone ever set a timer for cleaning the kitchen? I did this all the time when my kids were little, because I would race to get them to bed, and then I would want to have the kitchen clean for the morning, but I didn't want to spend all night cleaning the kitchen. So I'm like, or you had I don't really want to clean the kitchen, right? So I would set the timer. Okay, I'm going to clean for 20 minutes. And I would work my butt off to get the whole kitchen clean, swept, mopped, all things put away, whatever. Get it all done in 20 minutes. And then the 20-minute timer would go off, and I'm like, okay, but I'm almost done. I need like 3 more minutes. And then I would push through, and then it would be beautiful. And I'd wake up to this nice, beautiful kitchen in the morning, right? So setting timers and goals for ourselves. When we say, I'm going to clean the kitchen in 20 minutes, you're going to get really, really close to cleaning the whole kitchen in 20 minutes, if not doing it, versus I'm going to save an hour for cleaning the kitchen. So be careful how much time when you're blocking that you're assigning to things. So time blocking, Christina talked about it last week. It's pretty simple. I get up, I do these things, like here we go. Here's my time block. But if you're stuck in the time block and you don't know how to assign times to everything, then kind of think of it, do an inventory for yourself. And that's also important to do an inventory of your IPA. So when you do your IPA, I want you to look back and go, what did I accomplish in 40 minutes? Did I get done with my reaching out to new people? Did I get my following up done? Did I follow up with my current ambassadors? Did I, talk to my leader? Did I talk to my leaders that I'm bringing up? So really making sure that you're taking an inventory of your own IPA and making sure that it's actual production and not scrolling on Facebook. And this is something that we've talked about multiple times, but when you're scrolling, we think, oh, I'm scrolling and I'm going to help so many people, but you're just scrolling. And so that doesn't work. You can use a CRM, a customer relation management, like the Doe app is free, and it will generate contacts for you. So if you download your Facebook friends into it, your Instagram, you put all your people into it, it walks you through it, and then it's going to generate contacts. So sometimes that's a really great tool as well, for having lists instead of reaching out to the same people over and over again. You want to be talking to new people. And there's also creating like lists on Facebook of putting certain friends in one list, and then you can go to them specifically instead of scrolling all of Facebook. You're specifically going to see what's going on in a certain amount of people's lives, talking to them, and then using that list to do your reaching out for the month or whatever. I want you to think also about sometimes the other thing. So there's the time blocking, and then there are other times where sometimes a flow of your day can be more productive. So I have had little kids, and I've had now older kids, right, running my business. And when I had very little kids, it was like if I had a flow of my day, breakfast, outside time, snack time, cleanup time, whatever. So I didn't have exactly like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes assigned to each thing, but I had a flow of our day. That way, if there was a diaper blowout or a this or a that, we could still do the flow of our day, maybe skip one of the activities, right? And then have a hard stop. So making sure if you're going to have a flow of your day, then you want to have a hard stop. Okay, at this time I am doing IPA. At this time I'm cleaning the kitchen, whatever it is. So scheduling in some hard stops to that flow so that you're not just in this flow for endless hours. So that has been helpful when my kids were really little. And it was also helpful this last year when we homeschooled. See, you can do more than you think you can. Because sometimes some assignments took longer, or this kid took longer. It was hard to exactly assign that, especially as a first-time homeschooler. So we had a flow and we had some hard stops. And then if they weren't done with their work, then they were my workout partners. They were on the living room floor while I was working out, and they had to stay there until their work was done. So I didn't stop what I was doing. I didn't stop what I needed to accomplish in the day. My children had to come with me and make sure that they were part of it and that they were held accountable to what that they needed to do. The other thing that's been really, really great for me is having top 3 business goals in my day and top 3 personal goals in my day. Now, sometimes the personal goals are, I'm going to make a really nice dinner. I'm going to get the laundry done, and I'm specific about the laundry. Okay, I'm going to wash mine and Emmeline's. I'm going to fold mine and Emmeline's and put it away. Now, my other 3 children are doing their own laundry, and my husband does his own. So my 2 boys get some help with that, but they have been told, like, this is your laundry day. This is the day you wash your clothes, dry your clothes. If you need a little bit of help folding or whatnot, or sorting or putting the right amount of soap in, I'm there to help. But I'm teaching them to do these things so that, like, my oldest, who's 13, she can do her laundry without my help. So being specific about my laundry, not just do the laundry, or setting a time frame. If you're behind, like say you wash all the bedding and you have a bunch of towels or something for some reason, or you went to the beach, your laundry is going to be more than normal. So pick a time and then you stop that time. Okay, I've done enough laundry for today. The rest of this is going to wait, and you're going to put it in another time block later in your week. If you are not, I didn't bring my brain dump over here. If you're not brain dumping, then you need to brain dump. So does anybody know? Give me some hands or something. Brain dumping. Who does it? Who knows what I'm talking about? I see a couple. So brain dumping is that when you are like, okay, and I have to do this, and I have to do this, and I have to do this, and I have to call this and pay this bill. Just write it all down. Write it down, write it down, write it down, write it down, write it down. And then you can assign, okay, this can be fit to this time block. This, I can call this number, call this appointment, whatever, while I'm driving. I don't know if you can, that's a bad example probably, because you probably have to pay more attention while you're driving, but I can, delegate this. I've put my 13-year-old on the phone with the insurance or the paying the bills or co-pays. I'm like, here you go. Here's the card. Here's the bill. Call this number. This is what you need to do. Tell them you need to pay the bill. And I've delegated it so that I'm teaching her to do things too, and that helps. So brain dumping is huge. And I have found I'll do it in my phone sometimes, like in my notes app, but I feel like it's so much more off of my brain when I actually write it down. There's that kinesthetic process that we have when we write things down. So that can be really valuable to actually write it down on a piece of paper. And let's see, I have lots of notes, so I don't want to miss anything. So boundaries are also super important. So boundaries with putting your phone down and having that true one-on-one attention with your kids, and attention with your spouse. So the other thing, I said when I started this call, when I started my business, my husband was gone all the time. I could do a lot when my kids were in bed. I could work for a couple hours every night. I was gold, and I'm like, no, I'm going all the way. So I did a lot of IP. I did a lot of reaching out and following up. I did a lot of talking to people because I had strong goals right from the beginning. So it doesn't mean every gold ambassador needs to be spending 2 hours every night. But if that's your goal, is to go all the way, then go for it, right? And investing in that personal growth and everything else. So the other thing to keep in mind is that when we say yes to our priorities, that we have to be willing to say no to something else. And that comes with some sacrifice, but it's short-term sacrifice for long-term gain. So definitely keep that in mind, that, we can't go on every single park date, coffee date, lunch, dinner, whatever. We can't go to every single thing, because then our calendar is literally full of going and going and going and going and going. And then there is no time left to do our business well. So work around that. Make sure that you're scheduling in time to, yes, see your family and your friends, but also not being so full and busy that you're not getting your IPA done and your work done. I don't know, you're probably not going to be able to see this very well because it's on white paper, but I have a chart. Okay. So if you draw on a piece of paper right now, You have urgent and not urgent. For you guys, it'd be this way. So you have urgent and not urgent, and then you have important and not important. So urgent and important things are things you do first. Now, can something emergently be important and urgent in an emergency? Yes. Like my son crashing his foot on the playground equipment and breaking his toe. We can't just wait days and days to take him to the doctor. That all of a sudden moved up here to this, I have to do that today, which resulted in calling around, and we have new insurance. So who do I take him to, and blah, blah, blah. That became top of the priority list momentarily until we figured that out. But generally speaking, our urgent and important are things we do first, like our IPA, like making sure our new ambassadors are getting taken care of, like making sure that we have followed up with our people, that we're working with our leaders. Not urgent, but still important. These are things that you can give a deadline to yourself for. So say there's something special going on in your team page. Do you have to necessarily do it right there when you see it pop up in your team page? No, but it is very important. So it does need to be assigned a deadline. So assign stuff a deadline. Your personal growth reading, listening to training videos a couple times a week. That is important, but not urgent. So schedule in time to make that happen after your IPA is done. Then we have our urgent, but not important. These are things that like, they need to be done, but we want to look for ways to delegate. So do I need to clean every toilet in my house and sweep every piece of flooring in my house? Absolutely not. I have a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. I absolutely do not need to be doing all of that. Does it need to be done? Yeah. So I delegate it. I get that off of my plate. And that became urgent and important when I was teaching them to do those things, but now they can do it. And then we have not urgent and not important. These are time wasters. These are scrolling Facebook, YouTube, cleaning your desk. You guys should see my desk because I know it's not urgent and I know it's not important. My desk can tend to get a little bit crazy and messy, and that's okay because we have to also give up perfection. John Maxwell says, the discipline to prioritize and the ability to work toward a stated goal are essential to a leader's success. Go away. The discipline to prioritize and the ability to work toward a stated goal are essential to a leader's success. That's John Maxwell. So we're leaders. We can do this. And that means that we are going to be disciplined and we're going to set those priorities and we're going to be intentional about our priorities. Only about the top 20% of where we focus our energy is actually what's going to make the most income, is going to make the most production for us. This is a John Maxwell thing as well. For the love, you guys, I have been threatening them for the last 45 minutes not to interrupt, and here they are. So that's the Pareto principle that John Maxwell talks about, the 20-80 principle. So one of the things that I thought was really interesting that he points out is that about 20% in our jobs, the top 20% of our work, that's where we get 80% of our satisfaction. And there's a lot of PTs, OTs, speech therapists, like on my downline. I'm sure that we have other ones, but I'm like, that is so dang true. That 20% of what I actually do as a physical therapist, like 20% of what I'm doing actually does produce 80% of my satisfaction in that career. It's so true. And then 20% of a book gives us 80% of the content. You guys, that's wild, right? And then of course, 20% of our time is going to give us 80% of our productivity. So what we want to do is focus in on that top 20%. You know, there are certain things in my house that I set as a priority to be clean and managed while I was working full-time, raising kids and building a business, right? And it was, you know, the important things like bathrooms, like places where germs are and stuff, like those had to be clean. Did baseboards get cleaned every week? Absolutely not. No way. Did my closet get cleaned out and gotten rid of stuff like it should have for the last couple of years? No, it didn't. And that's okay, because it's just sitting there. It's in the closet. It's contained. No one has to see it. You know, the clutter around the house, I've gotten, now that I have done on a regular basis, a couple times a year, clearing out the toys, getting rid of stuff, because that stuff that's in our face, clutter, can be very overwhelming and can be a huge distraction. And then it's more stuff to manage, right? So definitely looking at that. And then I have some very, very specific things that I wanted to share with you about little kids, having little kids. So I know that sometimes we hear, well, my kids just don't sleep. They just this or that. If you're okay with how your kids are sleeping and how your kids are going to bed and how your kids are waking up, if you like the routine that you have going on, then by all means, run with that routine. But if you think, oh my gosh, I just wish they would go to bed better, or I just wish that I could make them sleep in a little longer, or whatever it is, then you have the power to change that. I am telling you, you can make changes with routines with little kids and with older kids. It can be done. I promise you. They wrote a lot of sentences today. So it can be done, and it's not going to change in a day, but it can happen. So one of my favorite sleep books in particular is called The Sleep Lady by Kim West. It's like a blue book with like a baby on the front. It's been passed around to a couple of my girls on my team. I'm like, oh, I gave it to so-and-so. And then another teammate, hey, do you have it? And she mails it over here. So it's been passed around my team, and it's broken down 0 to 5, how much sleep each kid should be getting at a certain age, and then how to gently help them sleep without us holding them or falling asleep on us all the time, or whatever the case may be, or sleeping with us, whatever it is that you would like to change. She has great tips in there, and it's not just stick them in their bed and walk away and let them cry all night. Okay. So that I really enjoyed, and it's broken up. So even though it's a bigger book, it's not difficult to read, because you go to each kid's age and you're like, okay, I can manage this. So it's broken down with that. The other thing is that teaching our kids that they can play by themselves without needing us for every little second, all the time. When my kids were little, we did everything together. I was folding laundry, they would play with toys. They'd be in the bathtub, I would be cleaning the sinks and toilets. Like, it was easy to kind of do those things and be with them and still interact. Oh, I love your boat. Oh, good job. Whatever it was. And even before I started Plexus, I was teaching at our PT school, our PTA school locally to the area, ever since I was pregnant with my first. And then I started having kids, and then I needed to work on stuff to prepare for my class, but I had little kids. And so they learned how to entertain themselves too for a while. So a couple of things I did is I would sit at the table with my computer, with my notebook, planner, and they would play Play-Doh. So that way they were contained, because Play-Doh was always a table activity at our house. And I could still say, oh my gosh, I love your flower. That's really pretty. You know, can you make a dinosaur? Whatever. I can still interact with them. They're still right there. They're happy. They're doing something that they don't get access to all of the time. So it was special. Okay. The other thing is getting toys out that are only their toys when you're doing work. So they're special. So I liked the wooden train pieces, because they could play on the floor and get that all out and have it sitting there, you know, and they would build, and all 4 kids would play at different ages. Sometimes a baby was like Godzilla over there destroying stuff, but we learned how to deal with her. And so what we would do is they would play, and they would build blocks, and they'd do whatever. And then it was something that they worked on and they enjoyed. And it wasn't something we had out all the time, because it would take up a lot of the floor space. And then, so other toys you can get out that are special to when you're working. You can get a lamp or something on your desk, and you can have it on. When my lamp is on, you cannot interrupt me. I need you to play by yourself while my lamp is on. When I turn my lamp off, you can come talk to me. If you need my help while my lamp is on, then, you know, give them a popsicle stick or give them a block or something. Then put your popsicle stick on my desk, and then I will know that I need to get to you as soon as I can. Now, this is something that you don't start out with like a half an hour with. This is like, if your kids are used to you being with them all of the time and interacting, you start with like 3 to 5 minutes, no joke. Oh my gosh, I love what you made while I was working. This is great. You're going to praise them. You're going to encourage them, and you're going to slowly increase the time. Those are my couple of things that I have felt like have been just really helpful as a mom in general, that I've learned from other moms, and I've been able to talk with other people, whether it's Plexus or something else. I think that it's really helpful. And the other thing is, if you have kids that you want to change their bedtime routine or their sleep routine, and you want to change how much they're interacting with you when you're wanting to get some work done, don't do it all at once. You're going to start with one thing and you're going to work on it, and then you're going to work on the next thing. Don't think you can just change everything and make it all better all at once. So start slow with that and change that up a little bit at a time. So holy goodness, you guys, I feel like I told you a lot of stuff in 28 minutes. So Emmy, come on, you need to go upstairs. Thank you for hopping on. Thank you for being patient with my crazy household. Come on. We're still working on things here. Can you tell? Oh, and the other thing too that I was reading, oh gosh, I have to tell you this real quick. This little notebook, it's called the 3-minute morning and evening. It's on Amazon. It's like $11. And it just gives you a little prompt for gratitude. It gives you a prompt for working towards your goals and a way to brighten your day. And then at the end for the evening, there's a reflection of today was great because. So it's kind of like a mini and super simplified version of the Start Today journal that Rachel Hollis put out. And obviously you don't need a Start Today journal to do that. Sometimes it's nice to have a little prompt so you have it all right there in front of you. So I really like that. And then I was going to point this out. We have Monday chore list color coded for each kid. This is another specific kid thing. And then it tells them what to do. And if they have questions on, oh my gosh, what does that mean when mama says clean the bathroom? Then I have a master list that lists out every single thing that needs to be done. Stop. Just stop. Emmeline, I'll be up in a minute. Lord help us all. You are interrupting and you need to stop. Go upstairs with Ella. I don't want to. So then there's a list for everything in the kitchen that needs to be cleaned, or how to clean the kitchen for after dinner. It tells them step by step what to do. So that's all listed out for them. These I read, just modify them. They'll be laminated and then they have access to that. So for older kids, that can be really helpful. For little kids, putting like pictures of stuff that they can check off is helpful. And these are laminated so they can use a dry erase board or dry erase marker and write on them and keep track if they want to. So now it's 9:30.